Right. So off the bat, right, one of the key driving factors of lung inflammation is going to be dysbiosis, right? Why is this? A lot of this has to do with the fact that bacteria, 80% of the immune system's in the intestinal tract, right? You have some in the gullet, which is going to be the gastric associated lymphoid tissue that's in the stomach right here. And then you have the MALT, which is the mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. So the mucosal, that'd be the intestine. So the small intestine's in the middle here, and then the peripheral on the outside is the large intestine. And so a couple of the big things that you're going to see is when the immune system is overactive, one of the first things the immune system does when it's overactive is it actually creates inflammation, right? Part of inflammation is vasodilation, so it can bring the immune system, the immune cells there to help fight it off. Think if you get bumped in the eye, what happens to the eye? It gets swollen, right? And so you create this low grade of inflammation, which is part of how the immune system works. The problem is, most of that inflammation that we're seeing in people, it's not a, oops, I bumped my elbow, it's gone in a day or two. It's a chronic low grade inflammation. And so you can see when we add in things like probiotics over here, right? Probiotics do a bunch of different things. They regulate the Th1, the Th2 immune cells, right? So Th1, Th2, right? That's going to be the natural killer cells on the Th1 side versus the antibodies on the other side. And so we have this balance between helper and natural killer on the one, and then we have the antibodies on the two. And so we have this good balance. And if we have it out of kilter, like let's say we have higher Th2, you may see more allergies and things like that, which can obviously stress out the lungs. And obviously, if we have some kind of an infection in the lungs, we want good Th1 modulation, because if the Th2 is really high, the Th1, those natural killer cells are going to be lower. And so you can see, obviously, it's going to express several viral defense genes. It inhibits various cytokines and chemokines. So the chance of you having, what's the expression they call it here? It's the inflammation after a virus kind of comes in and ravages the lungs.
Like a cytokine storm.
Yeah, cytokine storm. And so this really helps modulate the imbalance in cytokines after the fact, right? And it's going to modulate immunoglobulins. That's your antibodies, your IgG, IgA, IgM, IgG. And then to modulate your innate and your adaptive immune system. And obviously, it's going to help with the anti-allergenic property. So that's going to be a Th2 stimulator. So you can see it's going to really help modulate this here. And again, this article doesn't even really address it, but if we don't have good gut absorption of, let's say, vitamin A or vitamin C or vitamin D, right? If we don't have good absorption in the gut, then obviously all those nutrients play a major role in modulating the immune system too. Any comments on that, Evan?
Yeah, well said. So I'll take it a step further. We see all sorts of dysbiosis, bacterial overgrowth, candida, parasites, worms, gut inflammation coming from the diet. You alluded to the malabsorption. So let's say you're giving someone X amount of zinc. Let's say you're giving someone X amount of quercetin and vitamin D and vitamin C, and you're thinking that you've got a good protocol. Well, we talk about this all the time. It's not really about what you eat or what you take. It's about what do you actually digest, what do you absorb, and what do you assimilate from that. So the problem is I have firsthand experience now with some really, really intense medical cases. We'll just leave it at that for now. And this particular person has been getting vitamin C in a crushed up tablet form, when in reality, we should be getting IV vitamin C. So it's not just about what you get, it's how you get it, it's how much you get it, it's about how much you get from what you're taking. And there's a lot of issues. And if you say you're getting 2 grams orally in a crushed up low quality form, we know that vitamin C in general, we see it low all the time on organic acids testing. Maybe you're getting 1/10 of that. So you're really just not going to get the therapeutic amount. So a lot of people I find are either being fairy dusted or they're fairy dusting themselves because they're putting so much hope into the products they're taking, and they're just not getting much from that due to these underlying issues with the gut. And you and I have beat the drum on the gut for freaking 10 plus years now, and we're still having to beat the drum on the gut. But I hope that you feel as good as I do about all the work we've done, because we know that everything we're doing with the gut is improving people's responses, so that if they do get exposed to something, they're going to have a much, much healthier, better response to it.
100%.